C Police Department Annual Update, Colonel Carpenter.
Welcome. Good afternoon, Chair Engel, Vice Chair Miller, and Board of Supervisors. Thank you for this opportunity. Dr. Casey, Mr. Minks, thank you guys. We're excited to be able to present today our annual board briefing on Chesterfield County Police Department. All right, I'm going to start off with why we exist, and I think you guys are familiar with these 4 pillars as to why we exist. It's the preservation of human life, the protection of the vulnerable, and problem-solving partnerships in our personnel to ensure that we recruit, we retain, and develop top-tier talent within our organization. And I want to also put a plug in specifically if anyone who's watching that's in our community that wants to serve on the Chesterfield County Police Department, please go to joinccpd.org. We're always looking for fine young men and women to serve our community here at the police department. All right, what you have before you is the CCPD organizational chart. The one thing I wanted to share with you is that we made one modification to the org chart, and that was in our actual Special Operations Division. What we found is our Special Operations Division was a little too large for one captain, so we split those responsibilities among another captain and created Special Operations and Tactical Operations Divisions and added a major to that component. So the only modification to the org chart is that Special Operations Bureau. Moving too fast here. All right, key numbers for CCPD. As you can see, officers took over 205,000 calls along with assists, performed over 32,000 traffic stops, investigated over 5,000 crashes, 976 of those crashes involved injuries, and 32 fatality crashes, 22 of which were operated or investigated by CCPD and 10 by Virginia State Police. They've issued over 21,000 summonses and written over 15,000 written warnings, and actually investigated and arrested over 847 DUIs and also conducted 1,300 field interviews. What I wanted to expand upon is the importance of our traffic safety and our traffic safety team. Recently, they engaged in an operation on March 13th, and this was not an operation done in cloak and dagger. It was done by way of solicitation from the community to find out what were the areas within their community that they were concerned about when it came to traffic violations. Chippenham Highway was the location that was selected. We gave advance notification to the community that we would be out enforcing on Chippenham Highway and Parkway, and they stopped over 236 vehicles, issued over 313 summonses, 38 written warnings. What I'd like to add is out of those actual stops, there were 2 individuals that were traveling 104 miles an hour in the 60-mile-per-hour zone. A 15-year-old was stopped doing 79 in a 60-mile-per-hour zone. So we wanted to make sure that, we're addressing this traffic safety issue, trying to reduce the fatalities within our community, but also hammer home the message of buckling up, putting down devices, obeying posted speed limits, and please move over when emergency vehicles out or in the field and in operation. So I thought it was really interesting that, when you look at the type of work that's being done, the fact that the community recognizes there's deficiencies, we respond to those areas, and we end up doing successful work.
Mr. Chair. And how many days was that conducted on?
One.
Yeah, one day. I think
One
you
day.
need to highlight that.
Yes, sir.
One day.
One day. Our second key number for 2024, volunteer hours, over 23,000 hours of volunteer. I think this is important. The volunteers that we have within our Chesterfield County Police Department are very, very valuable individuals. They have really siphoned off a lot of work that wouldn't more than likely be transitioned to our staff. So we're extremely appreciative of those that serve in that capacity. It's a very robust community within the police department, and we're excited to have them and wanted to share the work that they're doing. We've received over 16,000 pieces of evidence into storage, 81,000 pieces of evidence transaction, which, if you don't know, our evidence room is busting at the seams due to the work that the men and women of Chesterfield County Police Department do. We processed over 3,400 applications and hired 65 full-time staff. And I would be remiss if I did not include our ECC, handling over 541,000 calls. 147,000 of those calls were 911 related. So a lot of great work being done by our partners in ECC, as well as our volunteers and the work that's taking place in our property and evidence sections. Animal services. I think the number speaks for itself. The work that they're doing, 11,000 calls for service. They've actually had 1,900 dogs that were actually and cats that were picked up. And out of that 1,905 dogs and cats picked up, 746 were returned to their owners or rides home by way of scan devices and being able to locate their owners. 468 were returned to their owners after maybe going to the shelter and reunited with their loved ones. 699 were adopted. 286 were transferred to rescue organizations, and we have a 79% save rate overall. We recognize that this job is challenging for our animal services officers, and we're committed to ensuring that they have the staffing and the resources to be able to do what they need to do and serve the community appropriately. We're looking forward to our groundbreaking ceremony that shall take place with our new shelter. Thank you guys for that. It's been something that we've been looking forward to. The shelter is busting at the seams, and those resources are definitely needed. All right, 5-year crime totals. Can you guys see that? Okay, I can't. 5-year crime totals. As you can see, from 2022 to 2023, we noted a tremendous increase in all categories, right? When you look at arsons, B&E, vandalism, fraud, motor vehicle thefts, auto, larceny from autos, forcible sex, etc. However, we experienced an unusual decrease across the board from 23 to 24, with the exception of homicides. We had 13 homicides, 5 of which were domestic related. We continue to provide education and services to domestic violence victims in hopes of saving lives. But, you know, when we look at these numbers in 2024, it's very unusual compared to numbers previous. And we're not really sure as to why the numbers are down, but we'll take the win at this time. But you got to be careful with taking the win when they're down. When they're up, you got to take it as well. We continue to remind the community to secure their vehicles because we recognize that a lot of the crime that is taking place is auto larcenies, as well as larceny from autos. And a lot of times we're finding that these vehicles are insecure. So please secure your vehicles, make sure you take your valuables, and conceal those from common observation.
It's even better when they leave the keys under the mat. That's really nice of them.
Or the key fob in the car. Exactly. Thank you. All right, my chart bled over into my title. This is 2024 Summer Crime Apprehension Suppression Team Stats. This was an opportunity where we took resources from different areas of patrol services and we focused them in the summertime. 46-day initiative, and these were the numbers that were produced. They seized over 30 firearms, They were able to assist with over 104 calls for service, and they actually executed 109 warrants while in this capacity in a 46-day time period. CAS is a situationally aware team. In a lot of cases, they were out in the field operating, and they mitigated several incidences that were actually in progress due to their covert capacity and being flexible and agile in the field. So tremendous work by the CAS team, and we look forward to deploying that resource going forward this summer. I like to say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? This picture is amazing. This is an example of what our Chesterfield County Police Activities League is doing here in Chesterfield County, from whitewater rafting to mountain climbing and hiking and kayaking to tug of war. It's just, just to say the least. Something that's not pictured here is an actual event that CPAL partnered with ESPN Radio, IM Power, Play Chesterfield, Parks and Recreation, Dick's Sporting Good, Uptown Alley. They hosted their first ever Chesterfield County Police Activity League football camp, and the former NFL player Wiley Rayner recruited several of his NFL players to come and share coaching experiences and opportunities with the youth. And the testaments that came out of that camp were amazing. So great job to Sergeant Kierson, his team, putting together activities that really connect with the heart of our youth. I really believe the mission and goal of the Chesterfield County Police Activity League is to really connect our youth and ensure that they have great experiences, but not just great experiences, but great relationships with the law enforcement community that are serving them. All right, and our pedestrian safety partnership. As you can see, we experienced a lot of pedestrian fatalities last year, and we had a spike of 4 fatalities in 1 month during September, which brought us all together to figure out what is going on and what we can do to try to mitigate these fatalities. Thanks to our community engagement team, our actual county stakeholders, as well as state stakeholders, we partnered with ABC of Virginia because we found out that some of these pedestrians were under the influence of alcohol, and how could we spread the message and spread the word. These actual stickers that you see posted on the bag were attached in partnership with ABC stores to individuals that were patronizing those businesses, but also you see a QR code in the bottom right corner, which allowed those individuals to get more safety tips on how, as pedestrians, they move along the roadways here in Chesterfield County, they can remain safe. I think it's equally important that we have these educational moments with the pedestrians, but even the drivers. So many times I've driven down the road and, there may be an individual walking along the roadway dressed in black, and they're walking not thinking any problem is occurring. But the fact of the matter is, they could have been potentially a victim. So having that communication and conversation, not only with pedestrians, but also individuals that are operating motor vehicles, are extremely important. We're excited to say that as of 2025 to date, there's only been one too many pedestrian fatalities, but we are continuing to get out in the community and share our purpose, our wisdom, our knowledge as to what they need to do to be able to traverse our highways here in Chesterfield County. And at this time, I want to turn it over to Colonel Badgerow.
I get to highlight just a few things that we've picked for our agency recognition for 2024. Kind of difficult to do over an entire year with over 700 employees, but we picked a few good ones here. Everybody, I think, is aware that this year we finished 3rd in our National Night Out celebration event. Highest we've ever placed. We hit the platform, so we're looking to move forward. We're going to have to take out Arlington. America's team is there in Arlington, Texas, and the House of Mouse down in Orlando. So there's a couple big ones that we have to go after, but we're happy to be up in the running. But beyond just the 3rd place recognition, what that represents is more important. The relationships that we are able to establish, not only on one night in sweltering August, but it's throughout all of a lot of different things that you've heard already today, with relationships with our youth or in the community or the different events with Sprint, I mean, all those different people and places and teams, and you around the table as well. And so it's how that all comes together. We celebrate it on one night, but it's really an award for the entire year. So we're pleased with that. The second bullet there, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, CALEA. Many of you are aware of that organization, the accreditation organization for law enforcement. We walked through our third iteration of accreditation with them, and so for the last 12 years we've been accredited, but we just celebrated our third recognition of that. And I know the county was able to secure 31 NACO awards this past year, and we were pleased to be a part of 2 of them with joint efforts with libraries and with IST. You'll see the top picture there. You may have seen him earlier today. He gets around, he likes to talk to people, and he likes to read books apparently too. Tim Morton in our Read with a Cop program with Chesterfield Libraries, great partner there. And then the picture below is a picture of the Commonwealth Technology Award. And not only did we receive the NACO, but the Commonwealth Technology Award in partnership with IST. As you are well aware, a lot of what we are doing nowadays in the police side of things touches tech. And we couldn't do probably half of it. And we definitely couldn't do it well without our partnerships with IST. So we're very pleased with how we have really bridged a gap and moving forward with a lot of different areas. Specifically, the time-saving technology touched our body-worn camera program, our e-summons program, and our evidence.com program, how it interacts with courts and PD and everybody. So we're very pleased with that partnership. Again, very difficult to come up with just a few highlights for a slide here today with you for what kind of represents our hearts for service. We provided over 900 awards this past year in the police department for things like commendations, achievement awards, life-saving awards, all those different kinds of things. So, you know, can't highlight all of those here, but we wanted to highlight a few that we thought were important. The top corner there, you see Officer Zeb Cardona. He was here last year with you all. He was the #1 DUI arrest officer. He made the most DUI arrests in the Commonwealth last year. This year, he and Officer Valentina Liu were recognized by MAD for being the top 2 folks in Chesterfield for making the most DUI arrests, getting DUI drivers off the road in 2024. The top right and bottom left pictures are of Officer Lexus Stevens and Officer Quentin Thomas. The work that they did on a couple special victims cases, specifically domestic violence, they were recognized for being the Chesterfield Domestic Violence Task Force's Outstanding Service Award winners. So good for them for the time and effort they put into our special victims population, specifically with domestic violence. And the bottom right picture is a picture of Sergeant Joey Kierson and Master Officer Alec Renato. They're honored with the Vets on Track Foundation's 2024 Community Hero of the Year Award. Pretty impressive title of that award. Presented to people who have gone and continue to go above and beyond for their community. Officer Granato continues to lead an effort to provide Thanksgiving meals for families, and Sergeant Kierson volunteers at schools, Special Olympics, PAL events. As you already saw in the last slide with PAL, he's a big contributor there. But thank you, Joey, for all you do, and congratulations on that. Whoa. Something you may not usually think about when you think about a police annual update is a focus on continuing education. But between our training team and at our training academy and our cadre of instructors, they provide thousands and thousands of hours of instruction each and every year. That's between specialized classes that we co-host, anything with our wellness stuff, CIT, Struggle Well, elective and professional training, and all of our mandatory in-service training, but thousands of hours. Something that we felt was very important is that in our SMART goals for 2024, two out of six, were related to continuing education, and we've highlighted them there. This is a bit of a mouthful. The first one that we wanted to highlight was how all of our personnel, every employee, was trained in ABLE. ABLE stands for Active Bystander for Law Enforcement, and it's a partnership with Georgetown University Law Center for Innovations in Community Safety. And basically, that is a program for every employee to be trained in things like being able to intervene when they identify the need to. So something needs to happen, something is not happening, it gives them the permission and the right to say, hey, I'm going to step in and make sure that we make this go the right way. A way of de-escalation, a way of stepping in to make sure things are going right. And we felt it very important that not only our sworn staff, but our professional staff went through that as well, so that everybody was on the same playing field to say, hey, we're committed to this together. So we were proud of that. This past year, we have implemented some annual leadership training for all of our first and second line leaders, our sergeants and lieutenants. Everybody has to go through training every year, but we thought it was important that we specifically say, you guys have to go to additional leadership training. They are leading the way. They are really the spokes in the hub of the wheel that makes this place work. And so we thought it was important to really focus in on leadership training for them. Something else that we identified was a need for our supervisory folks to know how the finance side of things worked in not only the police department, but the county as a whole. Everybody knows they want stuff, but how do you get stuff, right? So how do you make that happen within the budget process? Talking to finance, talking to procurement, all of that. And so we, through Kelly Fox, our finance operations manager, she put together a class and trained all of our supervisory employees in financial literacy. And it was picked up by the National Criminal Justice Command College that state police puts on. She was asked to go there and train their folks as well. So taking it on the road and the reach that is experiencing, we're very proud of that. Speaking of reach, the little logo that you see there, the Command Excellence School, we put on our first Command Excellence School. It was over a 7-day period. They come in at different times, and it was for people in law enforcement command across the Commonwealth, and they were able to come in. It usually had something to do with reading a book, reading some articles, doing papers, and then coming in for the classes where you put that into action. Major Andrea Reesmeyer was really the spearhead of that, and we had people from all over the Commonwealth, chiefs, deputy chiefs, come in who they may not have the opportunity to attend classes like that in different places, and Virginia Association of Chiefs of Police has reached out to us to say, hey, what are you guys doing? Can we send people to this class? And so we're looking forward to our second iteration starting this summer. So good for them and good for folks with the continuing education. This is a slide. The right hand picture is of our Analytic and Strategic Operations Center, and the left hand picture highlights just some of the numbers associated with cases and statistics for successes involving our Flock LPR license plate readers, who those are integrated into our ASOC. In 2024, we really started our ASOC in serious, put legs to what we were doing over there, and we have grown it into one of the leading operations centers in the Commonwealth, and we're very proud of that. Last year, they assisted in live calls, over 5,600 calls for service. And these are things where officers are on scene and they're getting real-time intel from people behind the screen who are checking databases, checking cameras, and in times of emergency, checking the body-worn camera of the officer as well, and relaying information as needed to everybody who's responding. It makes for a quicker, more efficient, safer, more effective response. It's better all the way around. We're very pleased for that. And you may be aware of our Community Connect program, where we reach out to our community to partner with us. To date, we have 593 registered cameras where people say, hey, we have a camera, we would like to be a part of your system. It doesn't mean that we tie into it at all, but it just knows, we know that if we have an event that happens in their street, in their neighborhood, and they're registered, we can say, hey, thanks for registering. Can you check your camera for us and see if there's anything that we might need to know about? So we're pleased with how that program is starting to grow. And we have 69 businesses that are integrated with that as well, with real-time access to cameras in their business. And the last thing I wanted to highlight about this partnership and connection is the last hardware for our school camera integration is going to be installed at the end of May. And that will make us the first in the region to integrate our school cameras for real-time prevention, emergency access to the feeds for critical incidents. So we're very proud of that. You all are well aware that in '24 is when we really started to enact and enforce and look into the ordinance change with massage parlors. You can see the stats there. We had 74 clinic applications in '24. We issued 46 permits to the clinics themselves, 160 individual massage therapist permits, and then throughout the year, we revoked 3 clinics and 2 therapists, and that is mainly because of the bullets that follow. Throughout the department, we had multiple work groups that worked on this effort. Administrative inspections, just to see if they were doing what they should as far as having the licensing and the permitting and having things posted and doing things the right way. We did some undercover operations and search warrants, and as a result, you can see the charges there. A number of different charges, a number of different crimes that occurred, and obviously those related to some of the permits being revoked. Most of the undercover operations that we did, that we made arrests, the people weren't properly permitted in the first place. So, had they been, we would have revoked more. But at least it gives us the foundation for, okay, now we know you're on our radar and you're not going to get the permitting. So moving forward, there is a gap between how many people applied and how many we issued, and how many other places that we have an idea have not yet applied. So we have a team that is going out not only through mailers, but making individual in-person visits to say, hey, you need to come on board. These are the rules. Everybody else has done it, so come on, get on board, and we'll do it together. Any questions about that? I know that was a lot that we were going through the past year. Okay. Again, no surprise that our response to mental health continues to be a place that is an area that we can work on that may give a little bit of trouble as far as staffing considerations and hour considerations. But one thing I want to highlight here is the word core. That's what we call our core team, but it's a co-response team. And we stood them up in '23, but we really didn't start doing it full force until '24. And you can see on the left-hand side the number of calls that they went on. But what I want to highlight there is that 80% of the calls that our co-response team went on, they were able to keep the person in the community and advise them to other resources where they didn't need to be taken into custody. Because in custody, the bullet below that tells you how many hours that we had to spend in -- with people who are either in emergency custody or under the temporary detention order. And you figure if you have 12,000 hours, that's, basically 6 people doing full-time work 24 hours a day, right? 6 full-time employees, that would be all they did. But but this is spread out over the year, and so at any given time, we have people that are not able to be in their beat, not able to answer calls for service because they are with somebody on an ECO or a TDO. What I want to point out is the core team mitigates that. And if we didn't have the core team, we would have had thousands and thousands of more hours of people in that situation. Now, that's speaking selfishly for us from a staffing consideration, that's great. But more so for the people in the community that don't need to be taken into custody, that can be left in the community, that can be referred to resources, that can not have to go through that process. That's the huge win here. And so in partnership with Mental Health Support Services, with our crisis team, we're looking to grow that team this coming year to expand on our services to that population and really continue to make a difference in that place. Quickly, I want to highlight our commitment to wellness in the community and in the department. This past year, again, this is another area that really took flight. We developed a policy to put in place, and now it's not just talking about it. We have a policy that people can go to and say, okay, this is how this works, and this is how I fit. We identified wellness ambassadors throughout the department who have specialties in wellness, you name it, physical, mental, spiritual. They are leading the way and providing training and education for our people. And then we have wellness representatives who are, which is somebody on each work group that represents the wellness team that can bring them news and information and keep them up to date, so that it isn't just one person, sending out an email now and then. It's throughout the department, and it's part of our culture. And you can see a number of the highlights there that we are proud of that happened within our wellness training. We integrated yoga. We are making sure that all of our supervisors are going through Struggle Well, which is a post-traumatic growth class that takes struggle into growth. And that's something that we want to integrate throughout the department, but we thought it was very important that our supervisors go through that. And then, of course, wellness weeks and wellness days that we do highlights and keep in front of our folks. And final slide, on the horizon. So we're very excited, as Colonel already mentioned, groundbreaking for our new animal shelter at the end of May. It's been many years coming, and I know it's going to be a shot in the arm for the folks that work over there, but also for the community. Our community loves their pets, and we want to make sure that if they are brought into our control, we take care of them the best we can. I mentioned the CALIA accreditation and how we came through it the third time. We are getting ready to, in the next several months, become Tri-ARC accredited. So that is our police department, our emergency communications center, who currently are accredited, but our training academy is now set to be accredited. There's only about 40 or so agencies or groups throughout the country that have Tri-ARC accreditation, and we're pleased that in the next several months we'll be joining that group. We're looking forward to testing and evaluating a new Class B uniform. Back in the day when we switched to the Class B that we currently have, we really didn't have an option for a green. So, and as you know, things continue to progress and get better and improve. And the uniforms are more breathable and more workable and better for wellness and all of that. So we're looking forward to testing a Class B green uniform. Something else that is coming down in the next couple years at least is we're looking forward to implementing red dot sight equipment for our pistols. That is better for target acquisition, it's better for marginal shooters, it's better for low light situations, it's better all the way around. And so, through studies and comparisons to other agencies, we feel that this is the right move for us, so we're headed towards that. We're looking forward to groundbreaking of our Falling Creek station, and I just did an audible while we were talking, and I put a check in for ZOMOD. We're going to do that so that we can get under the ZOMOD. I know that apparently that's going to be the best way possible, so we're going to do some groundbreaking next week, maybe, if we are able to do ZOMOD. That's supposed to be a joke, sorry. But that's coming down the pipe, and we're very excited about that. Finally, we have a unmanned aerial systems team. We have a number of drones currently. But drones for first responders, or drone as first responders, is a relatively new concept where you have a team of folks who fly these things to the site before an officer can get there and can give real-time information, intel, not only for officers but for firefighters and EMS crews to see what do we have going on, what kind of resources do we need, what kind of resources do we not need, and be able to integrate with our crime center and send that out to our folks. So we're looking forward to that. And then the final invitation that I will leave you with is not next week, but the week after. We have our annual Law Enforcement Memorial Ceremony coming up May 8th at 11 p.m. right out here at the Police Memorial, and we'd love to see you all there. So that's the end of our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Board members, any comments or questions?
I thought you were going to press the button. There's some interesting statistics that are unbelievable, actually, what you presented. One being recovery of motor vehicle thefts. I know years ago, when cars were stolen, it was very difficult to find them. And I would imagine that number, I think, was 149. It's not just vehicles that were stolen in Chesterfield County, but the vehicles that were stolen outside of Chesterfield County. I think the advancements in technology today for public safety is amazing. Having when I started, we only barely got a radio handed to us because we didn't have enough to go around. So we are, this board, we're committed to supporting our public safety personnel to make sure that you have the equipment and everything you need to provide the most safest community. And I would tell you that I did take a mini tour of the ASOC. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's amazing. And I think that is a great tool for us to have, not just from an analytical standpoint, but from what we can actually provide for updates to our officers in the field as to what's actually going on. And so, as I said before, anything that we can do to support, just feel free to reach out. Excellent work. And yeah, I don't know how you're going to beat Mickey Mouse and the other one, but we'll give it a shot. So thank you. Look forward to it this year again.
Ms. Snyder?
I thought you and I were supposed to go to do an ASOC tour.
Oh, I'm going to do that too.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. All right.
I was waiting for you to do that. I just dropped in.
You just think you can go wherever you want. All right. Retired police officer. Anyhow. You guys are always the best. I send you random text messages when I see ladders out in the middle of Chippenham, and I say, Chief, I'm sorry, I don't know who else. I'm just letting you know. Tell whoever needs to know. You guys are awesome, and I try to, when I see people walking along Hull Street or in my area, I have a stack of maps of the link bus, and I say, here, please take this. If you have a phone, you can call or text them, and they will pick you up and take you, so you don't have to be walking on the. It's just, I know we did the reflector vests also, so I think that was another initiative. So it scares me when you see when people are driving 60 miles an hour on Hull Street and they're walking in black clothes or riding a bike or something like that. So please be careful. Yes, thank you so much.
Dr. Casey?
Just want to let you know, I stopped by the police memorial right before the 2 o'clock, and they have finished their project. So 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., the blue lights will come on both the police and the sheriff memorial. And just want to applaud the police, sheriff's office, and especially general services. I think when that memorial was first placed there, the concrete pad was never expecting electricity, so it was about 2 to 3 feet thick, and you may know somebody who may have been making sure that was a secured platform.
Mr. Chair, I was actually there that day when they poured it, but Chief, I actually have a file I'm going to bring to you of all the original design work and everything. I was on that committee and I was going through stuff the other night and I found it. So from a historical standpoint, I'll bring it to you all so you can have it. I don't think you have this stuff, so.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for being here today. I have to admit that I was a little disappointed with Lieutenant Colonel Badgerow's presentation in that I was expecting it to be in a rock voice, and I didn't get that today, but he's a little reserved today. But other than that, I thought it was a great presentation. I think that as we heard AI referred to earlier as an enhancement for the actual people doing the work, I think that's what we've seen with technology in the county as an enhancement to our work. And I think that that has a lot to do with the numbers coming down in the county because we're actually able to affect intervention in a much quicker time frame and much more precise, not having to interview multiple people that may possibly look like somebody you're looking for, but actually knowing what that person looks like and what they're actually wearing is a fantastic, not only for the officers, but for citizens that would otherwise possibly be stopped that weren't doing anything other than minding their own business. So those enhancements have been tremendous, and we look forward to making sure you get the support you need to continue to be able to drop those numbers in the future. And I know that sometimes there's a spike in something, but to Mr. Carroll's point, we can't help it if people steal more cars in other jurisdictions and drive through ours and we catch them. But that's okay. Good job. So thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.